Alright, so I went ahead and created a new file called school, and in this program I want to ask the user if it's a holiday, and I also want to ask him, is it a weekday? Okay, and based on his answers I want to print out there is no school today, and either print out yes or no, true or false. Okay, so in order to get this done, first thing we need to do is we need to use raw input, right? Because what I want them to enter in is either yes or no on the holiday or weekday. So I'm going to say raw input is today a holiday, and the next one I'm going to also do raw input, and I'm going to say is today a weekday. And so now that I have that in there, I'm assuming that they're going to type in yes or no here, and maybe we could help them with that by putting parentheses and saying yes, comma, no. Whoa. Yes, comma, no. And from there, we need to have a if statement, right? So we can say if some condition is true, then print out there's no school today, and then else we could say there is school today. So the condition is kind of complicated. So what we want to do to start this off is maybe we could write it in English, and then we could translate the English into code. So what can we say? We could say there is no school today if, right? And what do we want to say on the if? We want to say if it is a weekend, or it's a holiday and a weekday, right? That makes sense. So if it's a weekend, there's no school, or if it's a weekday and it's a holiday, then there's no school, right? So how can we turn that into code here in the if statement? Well, how do we say if it's a weekend, right? Well, we could check that if we say if weekday is equal to no, then it's a weekend, right? And we could say or. So or means that if this is true or if that is true, if either of them are true, that means the whole expression is going to be true, right? Or it's kind of like I am 85 years old, or I am 40 years old, right? This is a true statement, right? Why? It's because this is not true, but this is true. So since one of them is true, the entire statement is true. That's how or works, right? And that's the same here in our Boolean expression. So we can say if weekday is equal to no, that means it's a weekend. Or, and here it's going to be its own kind of compound Boolean expression using and, right? So since we do that, I want to put parentheses around it. And so I'm going to say it's a holiday. So that means holiday is equal to yes. And weekday is equal to yes. Put a colon. Right? And now I could print out whatever I want to print out. And I could say there is no school today. And we could do our else, meaning anything else means that there is school today. Okay. So let me erase these notes here. And I could run it. Oh no, this is not the right program. So I'm going to press Control click. I'm going to hit run school. Is there school? Is today a holiday? I'm going to say yes, it is a holiday. Is today a weekday? Yes, there is a weekday. There's no school. That's good, right? Because it's a holiday and it's a weekday. So let's go ahead and do it again. Today a holiday, I can say no. Today a weekday, I can say no. And that should say there's no school today because it's a weekend. Right? Yep, no school today. Okay. So is it a holiday? I could say no. Is it a weekday? I could say yes. And there is school today. So our program works. And the reason why it works is because we're able to use the or operator. Okay. So the or operator, if we look at it as a truth table, right? This is let me put some comments in here. The truth, we call it a truth table. And what is the truth table? It means if the first Boolean expression is true, and the second Boolean expression is true, then the entire expression is true. Okay. And then if we do true and false, then the entire expression is true. If we do false and true, the entire expression is true. But if we do false and false, then the entire expression is false, using or, right? For or. So that's the way it works, right? I could say something like, I am a mother, or I am 5 years old, right? Both are false, so that means the entire thing is false. But as we talked about earlier, if one of them is true, then with or, the whole thing is true. And if they're both true, then of course the whole thing is true as well. Okay. So this is one example of using or in a Boolean expression. And let's go ahead and do a couple of challenge exercises to practice this new operator that we just learned about, the or operator.